Reason why I said I was sorry earlier, I don't think there has been a graduating class heading out into a more uncertain world since the class of 1941. No American generation has been as fortunate as the class of 2004. You are, after all, at the confluence of scientific advances, economic prosperity, and equal opportunity. And yet no American generation until now has been asked to do so much, to stare down terrorism, to really reformulate the way we think as a nation, and to face such unpredictable sacrifice, while trying all the while to take the degrees that are conferred upon you here today and make a success of yourselves and make your way in the world. That's supposed to be what we do in America. To do all of that, we're going to have to cinch up our saddles, and we are going to have to bear down. Somehow, in the face of horrible terrorist attack, we have allowed the trivial to become what sells newspapers and magazines in this country. Somewhere along the way, we have become alarmingly self-centered. The expression, "it's about me," threatens to kill all of us. Commercials we watch on television, please note this, they all end with, "and I like that," and "that's perfect for me," and "that fits my lifestyle." We are great today because the generations that came before us didn't think for a moment it was about them. It was about everything else, everyone else but them. I was in Rome recently for the Holy Father's anniversary. We were there for a week covering the events. And I have to repeat to you a story from one specific day. I had interviewed for NBC News His Eminence Cardinal McCarrick, impressed as always with his grace, the quality of his intellect. I had stood just feet from the Holy Father, in awe, of course, as everyone is, of his strength, his stoicism, his remarkable grace, and his bravery bearing up under tremendous pain. It was an extraordinary day. It was a long day, and I returned to my hotel. I flipped on the television and called home to check in with my family, and something was amiss. An interview had just started on Larry King. His guest that night was a singer. She was just, after all, a singer. As our celebrity-driven media culture has dictated, I'm sure she is an American icon in some homes. But she was just, after all, a singer. And I noticed something about the interview. She was using the word "I" more than I think had ever heard it used before. And I called my office in New York and I said, "Can you grab a transcript of this interview tomorrow? I'm curious. I'm investigating something. I want to see how many times she uses the first person possessive." The answer, when we counted them all up, and it took a long time, was 540 times in a 1-hour interview minus commercials. I, me, my. That is our problem. Our problem in the media, the engine which, after all, fuels the celebration of celebrity. Our problem as consumers. Our buying power makes it all go, after all. On television here in Washington last night, when the news was over, Access Hollywood came on. Huge response to a viewer poll. Has American Idol lost its credibility? And I couldn't help but think there as I sat there watching, given the stakes in the world right now, given the content of the 30-minute national newscast I had just watched, what would the response have been? Would it have been as robust had the question been, has American diplomacy lost its credibility? By a 3-2 margin, the polling as of last night shows Americans thinking this nation is headed in the wrong direction. When I was here 4 days a week, I had a free period, and I would go over to Alumni Hall and make lunch and turn on the television. And because of the stone construction of the building, I only got one channel during my years here. It was Channel 13 out of Baltimore. And I used to watch the noon news, anchored by a young woman named Oprah Winfrey. She knew then, you could tell in her eye, she knew then where she was headed. And she stood out because of it. And another confession. Every day that I walked across this campus, I did so harboring a huge secret. I would sooner die than admit it to those in my dorm or those in my classrooms. I would sooner die than admit it to my buddy and dorm mate, Eddie, he of Rock Lobster fame. My secret was that I planned, in my core, I knew I planned to someday become the anchor and managing editor of one of only 3 network evening newscasts someday. That there were only 3 jobs like it in the world didn't scare me at all. It was my secret. We get back now to the advantage you have today over me. Effective today, you have a degree from a great university. You have the grounding and community and blessing that a Catholic university education can bring. All of you have embedded in you that idea. That far-flung, don't tell anybody, they'll laugh me out of the room idea. You have it, and you know you have it. Hold on tight to it. As they say, never let it go. No excuses either. Yes, much will be expected of all of you, but much more is available to you. You grew up in a great nation. You are the very best there is, and never forget that. There is nowhere you can't go. Please take us with you. I'll be able to say at least that I said goodbye to you the day you set off on your adventure. To protect us, to make us better, to make us proud, to remind people everywhere, all over this troubled globe, who we really are. We will be back here watching. We'll be cheering. We'll be depending on you. Because we must. God bless you, class of 2004. Go get 'em.